Hi everyone, this is Joshua Van Buskirk with Joshua Van Buskirk DCPC Chiropractic Clinic, and today I want to talk about something that I see a lot of in my office, and I want to talk about it because I believe it relates pretty heavily to pain in the low back and even in the lower extremities, and it is that tight legs, especially those tight hamstrings that people seem to get. And you know, a response that I often get, and I sort of want to just shut this down as nicely as I possibly can right now, is that, you know what, I've always had tight legs, or I always have tight hamstrings. Well, the follow-up question can be, well, have you always stretched? Have you always worked on mobility issues to combat that? And usually the answer is no. And so it's not something that you're really born with. And for sure, tight legs, tight hamstrings is something you can change. So let's talk a little bit about the mechanism. I mean, what's going on? Maybe why we're having these tight hamstrings. I'm going to draw sort of what the outline of what's going on. Here's the legs. This guy's got a pretty short femur. And then you got the leg right here, kneecap. What I think is causing this more than anything, I'm going to color it in red because it's so bad, is sitting. Not just sitting, but shoot, this is extreme sitting. Cool little self-experiment would be to get a watch with a stop timer, or take your iPhone, put the timer on, and just time how many hours a day you spend sitting in the sitting position, whether you're at school, or you're watching TV. Heaven forbid you have an office job like me. And I'm as mobile as I can be, and I'm still sitting a lot like that. But now, and then total that all up, and then take a percentage of your total awake active time that you are sitting, and I bet you 80 to 90%, and I think these are conservative numbers, 80 to 90% of the time you are spent in this sitting position. Well, what's going on with your muscles? Because that's usually what we feel. We feel these tight, crampy legs, right? We have a couple of muscles, and the hamstrings, I'm going to illustrate, they start right here, and then they go along the back, cross the joint a little bit, and then they start attaching right here. In this position, the hamstrings are shortened. Meaning, if that's the regular length of the hamstring, when they're in this position, the sitting position, they are shortened. The reason being, now if you can just do a visual. Let me erase a couple things right here. If you could visually imagine that if I straighten this leg, if I'm just going to do a stretch, what would happen is this would elongate right here, and you could see that, you know, that is a longer position when this leg is straightened. So this is in a shortened position. And not only that, there's another muscle, your hip flexors right here, attaches from here and right here, and that is in a shortened position when we're sitting as well for long periods of time. If I was to go and I was to stand up, you could see that this leg would come down and that muscle would elongate. So you have two bunches, and just to confirm this while you're sitting here, go and feel along the inside of your leg. Feel right there. Feel how tight and just, you know, bundled up that is, and then compare that to right here on the top of your leg. This should feel much smoother, spongier. And then dig in about right here. Now you do have some nerves, so if you hit those, you'll know what I'm talking about. But you should feel a bundle of tight, nasty tissues right there. Or maybe that's just me. But that is these muscles, and they have been chronically shortened, and therefore there have been muscle adaptations that can lead to pathology. And now the usual problem will be is you've been sitting. It's not when you're sitting. It's going to be when you go into the standing position. I'm going to erase right here. And what do you think is going to be happening when we go into the standing position from sitting? What's going to happen to these muscles? Well, these muscles that have been shortened for just a super long period of time, they have to lengthen. And really what happens is that they don't lengthen. And they just end up putting undue strain and pressure on certain areas. So let's just say that we go into the shortened position. I'm going to do this in a blue so you can see the change. And this goes into the shortened position. shorten position via standing. And the new muscles we're going to do in green, they attach right here and right here. Well, they're the same muscles, I should say, but they're just in different positions. And we can see that there's going to be some tugging points. I mean, it's going to tug. This muscle attaches to the backbone, this psoas muscle. So, I mean, if there's some tugging going on right there in this direction, what could happen? Well, maybe that could cause some strain that way. Now, if there's some tugging right here and right here, now this is actually at the pelvis. This isn't on your femur. This isn't on your leg bone. This is on your pelvis. And it's tugging right here. What's going to happen? I mean, we're going to have some distortions right there. And these can all lead to basically you getting, I don't like to use this term, but it's like your wheels are malaligned. You are malaligned, and you have these strains that shouldn't be there. And then they cause strains in the tendons, and eventually you're going to be getting some pain. Whether it be in the low back or right here. I also see a lot of stuff in the glutes because we don't really use the glutes because we're sitting like crazy. And so what can we do to correct that? Well, first thing we got to do is I can come in and I can do an adjustment to relieve some of the pressure on the joints and release all these happy chemical endorphins and send a whole bunch of proprioceptive signal barrages to your brain to help dampen pain. But what the heck is that going to do to the problem, which is the tight hamstrings, those tight leg muscles? It's not going to fix that problem. It's not at all. So what you have to do if you really want to get to the root of this problem, if your low back pain or your leg pain is related to these tight muscles, is if they're really, really bad and you have been stretching, get to someone who can manually correct and release these tight muscles. Someone like myself. But now let's go back to the stretching. If you stretch, you're going to be able to get rid of a lot of it just on your own. This manual stuff is great, and it can work wonders in people who need it. Not kidding, like miracle work. But stretching is the main thing. Stretching is the primary. This is the adjunct. So go home, do a doorway stretch. I'm going to draw this out for you really quick. It's that stretch and contract. This is your doorway. This is you laying down. Here's your butt. And here's your leg. This is as far as you can bring your leg. So if you can only bring your leg right here, that's it. The other leg is going to go through the doorway. And using that doorway to help you out, you're going to do a series of contract and relax stretches. So first, the thing you're going to do is activate all these back muscles right here. Keep that toe pointing towards your knee. Press down for 2 to 7 seconds. Contract, relax, and then with your hands, push yourself closer. Push your bottom closer to here. We should have your leg should be closer to 9 degrees now, because you're going to feel everything loosen up after you contract and relax. And then contract again, relax. After you relax, push yourself here, and hold the relaxation part. You can hold it for about 10 seconds, but when you get to where you can't really go anymore, you know, if this is as far as you can get, hold that. Hold that for 30 seconds, okay? And even if you don't have tight hamstring issues in your other leg, do both legs. With this simple doorway stretcher, you'll be able to leave a lot of that pain that's on the back side of your leg, and hopefully prevent some pains in the future. If you have any questions, if you need some expert help, give us a call. As always, our number is 505-609-8115. We're here for you. If you have any other questions, just go to the website, joshuavanbuskirk.com, or email us at josh@joshuavanbuskirk.com, and we will get you feeling better, get you well, and let's get to the root cause of the problem so that you can go out there and move without pains, without issues. This is Dr. Van Buskirk signing off.